Welcome to the new South Africa. Even though it might not seem like it and everything might still look the same, but trust me, the last elections have changed everything in South Africa. According to reports that have been confirmed, the country will be ruled by a government of national unity, which is simply a grand coalition.
What is that?
The ANC has joined forces with their main rivals, the DA, together with IFP and other parties who got small percentages in the elections in governing South Africa, both nationally and provincially. In the 1994 triumphant election that ended apartheid, the ANC won nationally with 62% of the vote, but in this year's elections, after 30 years unbroken rule, the ANC took only 40%, losing their majority in parliament.
Are you being serious right now?
With 50% needed to form a government, the ANC fell short by 10%. This was a clear result on the ANC's performance in government over the last 15 years, during which corruption has become the main concern. This coalition government isn't new in South Africa. In 1994, a coalition government was formed which followed the ANC victory, bringing together Mandela's ANC and former President F.W. de Klerk's National Party, or NP, now known as the DA, to govern the country. But that was radically different from that of today, considering all the factors at play. One major difference being that the ANC doesn't have the majority vote like before to govern the country without partnering with other parties, and the DA had the most amount of votes next to the ANC's 40% at 21.8%, with other parties having smaller numbers respectively. So, how's this going to work and what are the rules? Well, we as the public won't be informed of all the rules and regulations, but some of them have been made public. For instance, if a law is to be passed, it needs to be agreed on by 60% of the votes in the new government. What this means is both the ANC and the DA have to agree in order to pass that law, with 40 plus 20% making up the 60% needed. And if the DA doesn't agree with whatever the ANC is proposing, it could mean a standstill, because by law the ANC cannot get that 20% from other smaller parties in the coalition. It has to be the DA. And we know that these two parties don't agree on anything regarding most issues like social grants, BEE, land reform, minimum wage, and many others. Which is why I say this could turn to a standstill, because neither one of these parties is going to want to change their policies regarding these issues because of the other. Especially the ANC, which has been labeled as sellouts recently by some of their supporters because of partnering with their main rivals. However, some major players like the EFF and Jacob Zuma's MK weren't included in this grand coalition. All the potential coalition partnerships were always going to be problematic for some. There was no right answer, if I can put it like that, because the DA is viewed by many as a right-wing party promoting white interests. Then there was Zuma's MK, with 14.5% of the national vote, promising both to expropriate white-owned land without compensation and to change the constitution. Thirdly, there was the EFF, with 9.5% calling for nationalization of mines and land expropriation. However, the leader of the EFF, Julius Malema, had this to say.
On a personal account, I've this morning met with the president of the ANC, where we had 4 eyes. And I've expressed the wishes and the decisions of the EFF to him. Key amongst others included that we will not participate, as I've indicated, in the government of national unity, because that is a plan B for the Oppenheimer family. We will not participate with the DA and the Freedom Front in the same cabinet, where NSFAS is going to be converted into a student loan, where minimum wage is going to be scrapped, where the gains of 1994 are going to be reversed.
Both EFF and MK would have tried to widen the divisions within the ANC. At 82, Zuma has a score to settle with President Cyril Ramaphosa after he was forced to resign from the national presidency when he was still in the ANC because of corruption allegations, replaced by Ramaphosa the next day, who has now been re-elected to serve his second term as the president. And Zuma's MK party having the majority of the votes in the province of KZN. How will that work in the grand scheme of things? But the wider and more important question is, could a government of national unity tackle South Africa's problems? These include chronic corruption, Over 45% youth unemployment, wretched health and educational provision for the poor, serious crime and insecurity. I guess only time will tell. After 30 years of the ANC in power, South Africa is top of the World League for inequality. Systemic corruption has crippled the South African economy. Is Ramaphosa up to it? The ANC now knows that the people of South Africa will make their voices heard in the next elections, should there be a failure to improve their lives, to provide jobs and clean up the mess. Anyways, what do you think about this government of national unity, and why do they keep saying they are now going to put the country first? What or who were they putting first before?
I really want to know.
Subscribe for more. Catch you on the next one. Peace.